Hello, my name is Alex Bennett, and my question around disability is, Andrew, I know that you take a lot of policy positions, a lot of information from what Germany does, and I know that's true from mechanical education, but my mom, she married a German guy, and so my 3 little sisters are German, and one of them has a mental disability, and the way that they integrate her into the classroom is far more advanced than what they do in the United States. And I was wondering what kind of different places that you take your policy positions and what you want to implement for people with mental disability for them to be more of a productive part of the community.
Thank you, Alex. One of the German role modeling examples that Alex is referring to, because he's seen me in another context, is that only 6% of American high school students are in technical or vocational programs, and in Germany that's 59%. Think about that gulf. So we need to bridge that gulf here in the United States because we're overly emphasizing college, and the reality is only about 1/3 of Americans graduate from college. A lot of people are attending college that it's not a good fit for, and many should be heading to these vocational and apprenticeship programs if we actually invested in them properly. The fact is, in America, we do the easy thing now, and it's much easier just to take the kids with some textbooks and a teacher and say, here you go, rather than have a shop and a lab and equipment and a local employer and the training necessary to put them on a more sustainable path. As you know, I'm concerned with the fact that we're automating away a lot of the most common jobs in our country, which we are, 40% in the next 10 to 20 years, trucking being one of the most common. But it's very, very hard to automate away a tower climber or an HVAC repair person or a plumber. Can you imagine what it would take to make a robot plumber? It's a joke, it's like impossible. It's going to be a human being for a long time. So we need to invest significantly in trade and apprenticeship programs the way Germany has. And the fact that Germany is ahead of us in integrating people with different neurological profiles in the classroom is not surprising to me. One of the things we do too often in America is we silo kids off. We say, hey, you go there, and then these kids go here. And that's actually not the way human beings learn and develop naturally. If you think about the course of human history, kids learn from other kids very often, and so you need people with different profiles who are in a classroom. The other thing I would do in the classroom, we have to lighten up on standardized tests in this country. This would help people with different neurological profiles too. Did you know we invented the SAT during World War II as a means to identify which kids not to send to the front lines? Think about how dark that is. And then we took that test and now we're bludgeoning our kids with it every single year. It's distorting teacher behavior. It's making it so that our kids feel like they're not worth as much as they are. And so that's another move we can make that would aid the integration of people with different profiles in the classroom. Thank you, Alex. Right now, the government and the media, can't forget the media, are presenting a few measurements to us as to how we are doing, right? Number 1 is GDP, number 2 is stock market prices, and number 3 is headline unemployment. And so they run around saying things are great, things are great, things are great. And then we're looking up being like, why do I not feel like things are great? So you have record high corporate profits and GDP in this country right now. Also at record highs, stress, anxiety, student loan debt, financial insecurity, drug overdoses, and suicides. And New Hampshire, unfortunately, is one of the epicenters of the opiate epidemic. But nationwide, 8 Americans are dying every hour from drugs. It is so bad that our life expectancy has declined for 3 years in a row. First time in 100 years that's happened. Last time it happened was the Spanish flu of 1918, a global pandemic that killed millions. It is not normal in a developed country for our life expectancy to be declining. So when the media and the government run around saying things are great, and you feel like things are not great, you are right and they are wrong. By the numbers. That if you had the real numbers, you would see we're in the midst of a mental health crisis. You would see where our life expectancy is declining, civic engagement, a lot of the things that you would use as indicators of health of a society or community are all in the red. And this extends to what we need to do for people of different capacities who are disabled or on different parts of the spectrum. So if you shift our measurements from saying GDP corporate profits to our health, our mental health, clean air and clean water, then all of a sudden anything that makes our kids and our people stronger is an investment. That means paying teachers more, that means having more teachers in the classroom, that means actually putting resources in place to make ourselves stronger, instead of seeing these things as costs. You know, like it's very hard to argue when you go to the school district and say, hey, my kid needs help. And they're like, we don't have the money. Because they're in an environment of scarcity and they're like, I've got a budget and I can only move so many things around. But if you actually change the measuring stick of the economy to how that kid is doing, we all know, if you're the parent of a special needs child, you know if you invest enough in that child's development early on, it can be a game changer for the rest of their life. What is the economic and human return of changing that kid's life for 70 years? And so then you go to the school district and say, I need this. They say, yes, you do. Because we need to put that investment in place, and that's actually how we measure success. That's what we need to change.
Yummy, 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 yummy.